A very good afternoon. Thanks for clicking on to the Thursday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. Hope you're enjoying this warmer weather. Certainly, we've swung into summer pretty quick indeed after a very chilly spring overall. Of course, March, in a sense, cheated us out of probably what could have been one of the coldest springs in, possibly even a generation. But of course, the warmer than normal month of March kind of thwarted the overall spring temperature and kind of tip the balance, if you will. But certainly we do have warm weather to speak about at the moment. We've seen a maximum temperature of 28.3 Celsius recorded yesterday at Northolt, a well-known southeastern hotspot, of course. And, all four nations of the British Isles has recorded temperatures well into the 20s for the year so far. But at the moment, we've got a little bit of low pressure here to the southwest of the British Isles here. That is kind of trying at least to push into the UK, but it's not succeeding. And the reason why is, of course, we've got the big area of block and high pressure up over Scandinavia, and we've got some strong positive anomalies here across the British Isles as well. Hence the dry weather, the sunny weather, and of course the warm weather. But as we press through, it looks let's look at the 2-meter temperature anomalies here. And generally speaking, we've got a fairly warm outlook. Both the GFS ensemble and the CFS V2 indicates that we have got a warmer than normal pattern. So the front running 5 days warmer than normal, with the exceptions of South Wales and the southwest of the British Isles, possibly into the southwest of Ireland as well. And the reason is we've got that area of low pressure nearby. Always keeping more cloud cover, outbreaks of rain as well. And we are seeing some showers and thunderstorms. We've seen, of course, an area of thunderstorm activity over Iberia, transfer up through northwestern France, across the Channel into the southern portion of the British Isles over the last 24 to 36 hours. We're, of course, going to see localised flooding with some of these downpours as well. A lot of rain in a short space of time. So upcoming the 6 to 10 day period, warm across Iberia, across France, Low Countries, and of course pretty much all of the British Isles and Ireland as well. And the 11 to 15 day, you can see here that we've got a warmer than normal outlook overall, starting to cool down slightly across Iberia, as you can see here. But generally speaking, high pressure is going to be the dominant player, I think, in the really, quite honestly, the foreseeable future. As you can see here off the run itself of the GFS, you can see here that low pressure never really makes it fully across the British Isles. We do see a little bit more enhanced shower activity on Saturday, as you can see here. That area of low pressure does manage to kind of move into the northwest of the British Isles here, so we're going to see enhanced shower activity, cooler conditions as a result across parts of Scotland here. But across Iberia, we've also got an area of low pressure probably triggering some pretty intense thunderstorms as well, because of course the air is that bit more that warmer, more instability in the atmosphere, hence very intense thunderstorms, I think, across this region of the world here. France largely dry and settled. We've got more unsettled weather across the central portion of Europe, as you can see here. And then as we skip through, it looks as if the high pressure zone just remains pretty anchored across the UK. We've got more enhanced thunderstorm activity, or shower activity at least, during the day on Monday here as well. So you get the script. We are back in the drier theme. Temperatures warmer than average, but they're not super warm, if you will. We may see an increase in temperature, in the 5 to should I say the 6 to 10 day range. So during next week, we could start to see the temperatures come back into the mid, possibly the upper 20s. But I don't see anything particularly hot, if you will, for the next couple of weeks at least here. But in today's video, folks, I want to look a wee bit about the sea surface temperatures globally. Now, this is the current global temperatures here, the anomalies at least, on a global scale here. We're starting to warm things up slightly water-wise across and surrounding the British Isles in a response to that warmth that we're seeing now. We've got a lot of warmth over the western portion and the central portion of the Atlantic here. That area of cold off California remains very, very warm. If you notice here, stretching from between the Philippines and Japan, the China coast, all the way across to near enough the British Columbia coast here. That's been a persistent feature in the last month or so here. And we're seeing, of course, that neutral end zone now. So the La Nina is no longer. We've got neutral conditions. And what will be interesting to see is how the temperature globally responds to this lack of La Nina. Now, the modelling is indicating that we are going to see La Nina conditions return by the autumn time, but that will certainly be interesting to see. We've got warm waters surrounding Indonesia and southeastern Asia, still cooler than normal waters across the eastern, or should I say the western portion of the Indian Ocean basin here. But, over the last 7 days, we've seen probably a net decrease in temperature globally. And the proof is in when you look at the global temperature anomaly, generally speaking, from about, the end of April, where we kind of reached a peak at 0.3 degrees. Not a big, huge deal, if I'm being honest with you. But notice here that we've had a steady decrease in global temperature, water temperature at least, back down towards, what would that be, like a kind of a percentage, of a degree. So you've basically got a decrease from 0.3 to 0.2 Celsius, which, it's not a big deal, but when you look at the overall global temperature, I suppose it kind of is really. But it's going to be interesting to see exactly where the temperature globally goes. We are seeing a decrease in temperature. Now, of course, this commenced, we had a peak in temperature here around last year, but we've seen a fairly sharp decrease in global temperature. This is the lower atmospheric temperature here measured by the University of Alabama, Huntsville. And you can see here that the temperature globally has been coming down. Definitely with response to that La Nina that's been going on for the last couple of years. You typically see a response more during a second year La Nina than you do a first, and the atmosphere is starting to respond to that. So it'll be interesting to see over the next few months if the temperature starts to come back up once again. But that will certainly be worth keeping an eye on. And of course, if you haven't already, I've released my European summer forecast for 2021. I've went into a bit of detail with regards to the global temperature update, which I've started to do. This is the second year I've kind of done that, where I've looked at the global temperature and the comparison you see here between last year during February, where it was way up here, of course, and the temperature by the time we reached March of 2021, which is way down here. So significant drop in temperature. But I look at the current ENSO index, the current global temperatures, as well as the Atlantic. And of course, I look at the type of spring that we've seen, the dry April, the wet May. And of course, I also discuss somewhat the solar minimum and how that may have an impact. And then I go into the summer forecast generally. So do check that out on marfoganweather.com if you already haven't done so. And keep it right here on YouTube, on Twitter, and on the website itself for regular weather updates. Hope you have a great day. I'll be back in the next couple of days with more. Bye for now.